sometimes we forget week to week how to do this. We have it all written down. I have it all written down. So
Okay, here we go.
let me.
Here we go.
All
That's
right.
fine.
I'm ducking out. And just, we go in after the fact and we take out all this mess at the beginning if anybody gets on the recording. So don't worry about that. So, and we put in a
Okay,
really good
you fine.
description and all that. So, okay, I'll be here. I'll be listening. Talk to you
Okay.
later.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. It's you and me. You and me. So, just want to welcome you on tonight to Electra James Inspirational Talks. I'm so excited that you agreed to come on. I'm always excited with my guest because people don't have to agree to come on. They really don't. So I try to make it my business to always tell all of my guests that they are welcome onto this podcast, and it doesn't have to be just this one time. You will be asked to come back more than one time. So, to the rest of the world, here we go. Our interview with Miss Toseika Thomas, the owner and operator of Finding Destiny, and we want to congratulate her on tonight. She officially has an agent now. So she's going to be sharing information with us, and we're excited about it. And so at this time, I'm going to turn it over to you. And the only time I'm going to interrupt will be whenever somebody comes up in the chat section. And at some point, I'll stop and kind of read off some of the things that the viewers may have posted, okay? But at this time, you can move forward in sharing with us, okay?
Okay. Well, thank you for having me. It's very exciting to come up in here and talk about a topic that I'm passionate about. We're going to talk about human trafficking. It's not one of the people's favorite subject to talk about. They usually try to run away from it because honestly, most people take it with a judgmental mind.
Okay.
So before we start, I want people to just sit and think about a time when they were stuck in a situation and they couldn't get out, whether it was a relationship or it was at work, and they couldn't get out of the situation by themselves. They needed to reach for someone. Because that's how the victims feel. They're in a situation where they're stuck and they can't figure out how to get out. And some of them don't even know that they're in a situation. So they need someone to help them identify the situation, and then they need help to get out.
Let me interrupt
Just like
you
if you're at
right
work
quick.
and you had a bad boss.
I'm going to interrupt you right quick. It's saying that your network bandwidth is low. I don't know what that means, but that's what it's saying.
Oh, I think that's for your computer.
Okay. Okay. Keep going.
But I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay. So you just keep in mind as we go through the topic to just think of it to me.
Okay.
So what is human trafficking? Human trafficking is a form of modern day slavery where a trafficker uses their force or fraud to control the victims. And it's through commercial sex or labor services against their own will. So in short term, it's modern day slavery.
Okay.
You're stuck in a situation where you don't have control.
Okay.
And so now we're going to talk about who are the victims.
Okay.
There are millions of people, men, women, and children that are victims. Anybody can be a victim. I can be a victim, you can be a victim, anyone can be a victim.
Okay.
Studies say usually it's low income or foreigners that are at a higher risk than to be a victim. But in reality, this is a high demand industry.
Okay.
It's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Oh my
You have
goodness.
your politicians, you have your doctors, you have your lawyers that are involved, that are involved in this, not just the average Joe around the corner.
Okay.
So that makes it a little bit more harder for a victim to escape, because we're not just talking about low income girls. Now you can live in the suburbs and be a victim.
Okay.
Because it's high a demand, is supply and demand services, it makes it a little bit more difficult to say one person could be a victim.
Okay.
Anybody could become and snatch any one of us at any given moment to fulfill that need or that desire.
Even at my age?
Even at your age. Because
Okay.
it's supply and demand. It's
Okay.
a multi-billion-dollar
Okay.
industry. No, seriously.
Okay.
So if they need you for a demand and you are just opportunity, just easy access at that time, you're easily gone, because it's just that serious. And people don't understand that you can be walking in your car to your car at Walmart, getting your keys out. You know how we not paying attention, getting your keys out as you're walking to your car, and you snatched up because someone needs a girl or a boy or a man for a need, whatever that need may be.
Okay.
My notes, because I don't want to forget to the
That's
questions.
okay. That's
so,
okay.
Who's at risk of becoming a human trafficker?
Yes.
Anyone is at risk of, like I said, anyone is at risk. But the highest risk is teenagers.
Okay.
More specifically, young girls.
Okay.
Now, it is a supply and demand, high demand industry where anyone can be chosen. But right now, I'm talking about more specifically the sex trafficking, and not just human trafficking.
Okay.
So when we think about sex trafficking, teenage girls are more likely to be chosen for the industry because they're texting on their phone, hanging with their friends. I mean, we've all been teenage girls. You know what we do.
Oh yes, I know.
Not
I know.
thinking
It's a
clearly.
teenage girl.
And so that makes us easy victims.
Yes. Yes.
You know, and people don't understand, especially sex trafficking. Most people think that it's usually a man coming to kidnap the girl to come into sex trafficking.
Yes,
and that's
what
true.
I think.
Usually it is one of her friends. Yeah, it's one of her friends telling her, "Oh, girl, look, we're having a party. You know, come to Action Mall. Can you go with us? We're only going to be, tell you, it's only going to be 2 hours. Come on, let's come on." And next thing you know, they're gone. Because what? She believed her friend was part of the industry.
Okay.
And now this girl is wrapped up in a lifestyle that she can't handle. So that's why if you really start paying attention to the news, you will see more and more teenage girls are disappearing. And that's why it's not because some random man or some random woman kidnapped them. It's usually a friend or sometimes a boyfriend kind of pushed them into the industry. Yeah, sometimes it's their boyfriend, you know.
That's so important to know.
Okay, I thought you was gonna ask them.
That is so important to know, because so many girls don't pay attention to that.
They don't, and they really don't know the signs to look for when the subject is brought up. Because let's be realistic, a lot of parents don't want to talk about sex.
That's true.
So they really don't want to talk about human trafficking and sex trafficking because they don't want it. Most people feel like if they talk about it, then it becomes real. Well, reality is, it is real. You know, so it is time for us to open our minds and our eyes and have these hard conversations with our kids that, one, everyone is not your friend.
That's right.
Two,
That's right.
You can't go everywhere. It's just that simple. If you don't want me to go, then you don't need to go. So even though I might not want to go, but if you feel uncomfortable asking me to go, then that's probably somewhere that you don't need to go.
Yes.
So as parents, it's time for us to actually be parents and stop trying to be their friends, because at this point in life, they need parents.
They need
they don't need
so
friends.
bad.
They need someone to protect them and keep their mind, keep their minds and their eyes open, because like I said, we were all teenagers. So you knew you weren't thinking at 14, 15 years old. So they need their parents think for them at that age and kind of walk them and guide them through life. And a lot of times these girls, they don't have that, and they make them easy praise for the lifestyle.
Right.
Study shows most common victims besides teenage girls, the average age is 27. And I honestly believe, and this is my personal opinion, I think it's 27 because these girls start off young and it just become a lifestyle. It becomes this is what I know. This is all I know. I'm comfortable with this. I don't know anything else. Nobody rescued me. This is my normal life. Yes. And so they just continue to go from their teenage, because most of them really, they probably start about 14, 15, 16, and then just continue to go. By 2021, you're comfortable going into the strip club dancing. You're comfortable dancing on the pole or on the corner. It's just the average lifestyle. But 27 is the peak. 19 and 33 is the average as far as someone to stay in that lifestyle, coming from the teenage years.
How long?
So anywhere from 19 to 33.
And they'll start trying to get out.
You know, to be honest, sometimes they don't. Well, it's hard to get out because and I think that's my next question. Do they self-identify as victims? It's hard to get out because a lot of them don't believe they're victims. This is their lifestyle. So if I don't come and approach them and tell them, hey, this is not a normal lifestyle, you have been brainwashed, you have been manipulated, it's not normal for your boss to beat you, you know?
Yes.
You don't have to live this because it's slavery. I mean, let's think back to when our ancestors were slavery.
Yes.
They didn't know that was slavery. And it's the same thing. I don't want to say girls because it's boys too. You know, these girls and boys, especially in sex trafficking, they don't understand that this is not normal.
Right.
Because if you're coming from a low income family, you're coming from drugs in your home, somebody's molesting you or raping you, you're coming from someone's beating on you, you're coming from, you're just coming from all kind of different emotional and physical broken backgrounds.
Yes.
So to have this guy to show you any type of love is better than being at home trying to figure out when you're gonna get hit upside your head again.
Yeah.
And so it's more of a pimp makes them feel safe.
Okay.
They're brainwashed.
Yes.
So they make them feel like this is normal. I'ma protect you. Just think about it. If this was you, anybody in their right mind would not want to sell their body.
Right.
Anybody in their right mind would not want to walk the street or take off their clothes in front of, so you have to think, is more than just looking at this woman on the corner. That's an emotional scar. And if you start looking at it from a psychological standpoint, then you realize that, wait, this is somebody who's been hurt, who's been broken, who needs someone to say, it's okay, let's rebuild you instead of judging. That's why in the beginning I said, let's remember a situation where you were stuck. Because when you can kind of relate to that person in any kind of way, then you're not seeing a person who is strung out on drugs because somebody got hooked on drugs, or a fast little girl. You actually see a human being who's lost in life, who need to be redirected.
Yes.
Another thing, and this I knew about it, but you never really just think about it, is they don't think of themselves as victims because the world treats them as criminals.
Exactly.
When someone is a prostitute, where do they go? They go to jail. So you have this victim who is in a lifestyle that they have been brainwashed to stay. And when somebody finally rescue them, what do? You go and lock them in a cage and tell them, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Well, how am I wrong? He forced me to do it. How am I wrong? I'm here against my will. Well, to society, it's your fault. Now you have to go to jail. Why? Why, if it was someone who was on drugs, who needed help, you would send them to rehab. So why not send this broken person, male, female, to get counseling, to rebuild them, to help them find their way in life and say, this is not the way, instead of just throwing them in jail or saying, look at her, she's disgusting. I don't want her nowhere near me.
Yeah. See, it's not enough.
Oh, and it really breaks my heart because
I feel like it's not enough available resources out there.
It's not. It's not. Because again, the reason why is because it's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Oh my
and it's
God.
just that simple.
Yes.
So if you have a politician that wants this child, you know, or this woman, he don't want, and he don't want to hear, oh, she's a victim. He want to be pleased at that moment. And so, no, they're not going to make resources. No, they're going to sweep this topic under the rug because they don't want anyone to kind of notice that there's a huge problem. Yes. I mean, you hear it all over the news, human trafficking, sex trafficking. And the reality is people just think, oh, that's just the man around the corner. No, you got these celebrities that are dealing with sex trafficking. You got, I mean, it's not just politicians. You got these people that people look as idols that are dealing with sex trafficking. And so when you have all this money flowing through different people's pockets, mouths get closed, eyes get closed, their ears get closed because they getting paid off to sleep with your baby. At the end of the day, that's what it is.
That's what it is.
Sex trafficking, human trafficking, sex trafficking for anyone under the age of 18 by law is illegal.
Okay.
Illegal.
By law.
A child under 18 cannot consent to sex. So by law. But yet we've all seen it. You have these people who are sleeping with 13 and 14 year old little girls who don't do that no more and go, and then this little girl end up in juvenile because she's being punished for this grown man sleeping with this baby. Again, we all been 13, 14 years old. We know we can't consent to sex. We ain't got no sense to consent to sex.
That's right.
I mean, do you really know? It's some grown people that fully don't understand sex. And so you're sitting here asking a baby to have sex. Why? But again, money talks.
Money talks.
And so you probably will hear, little conversations here and there, but it's not a conversation that you're gonna just hear push like it should, and have these open available resources like it should, because one, the people that are involved, and two, the money that's involved. I mean, it's not too many multi-billion-dollar industries out here. I mean, we have a few, but sex, seriously, pushing people into commercial sex against their will, you're making this an actual or legitimate business. Because sex trafficking is not just the people that you see on the corner. You have the women that are in the massage parlors. You have these people that are doing your nails and your hair. You have, just think about the different places that we go that we looking at these victims and they're just Linda who's doing my hair. Linda might be a victim. Have you ever asked her, does she really hold a real conversation with you, or it's just the basics? Do you Linda have a family here? We don't know. I just need you to do my nails. But we're dealing with a victim right now
and don't even know it.
So I would say don't even know it. Well, I'm not gonna say we don't know it. We don't want to know it. It's easier not to know it and identify it than it is to, because a lot of people are uncomfortable with the subject. Because how hard is it for you to actually seriously to say hello to someone and start that conversation? Because if you just start a minor conversation with especially a sex trafficking victim, you kind of start getting to something's not right real quick, because their conversation is not going to go like my conversation and your conversation, because they've been limited to just this lifestyle.
Yes.
So their conversation can't go too far because they don't have too much to say, because
Yeah.
they have been brainwashed, they have been abused to only talk within the box.
Okay.
Another thing is, when you are looking for a victim of human trafficking, period, you need to understand that you're not going to always see someone who is dressed in rags or the little shorts or the little dresses, kind of looking like a prostitute. Some of these people look like me and you.
Okay.
They go to work, they go to school, but they brainwashed. So they still operating, they still functioning, but they know they still got to go home and work their night.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, I don't mean to bring up celebrities or whatever, but just look at the R. Kelly situation. That was human trafficking.
Yeah.
That was a form of human trafficking.
Yes.
And so if you let these women tell it, they had normal lives. Well, in reality, I mean, if they went out with him, they looked just like me and you.
Yeah.
But in reality, they were victims. They were slaves against their own will.
Yeah.
And so we also need to be mindful of that too. When you're looking at the person who's doing your nails, she looks just like a regular person, or, she looks like a regular person, but she could be part of human trafficking.
Yeah.
And so the best is a victim is to start a simple conversation. You'll be amazed about a simple conversation, how you can easily identify that something's not right.
I'm gonna stop in the middle right here because I want to kind of tell you what some of the viewers have some comments and they have some questions for you. So I want to get to that before we go any further. Okay. So from the viewers, one viewer says says modern day slavery. That is an excellent description. And then another viewer says, unfortunately, a lot of blacks feel like it can't happen in our neighborhoods. I really hear that is white folk stuff. It's foolish to say the least. People need to hear this. Another viewer says, I talk to my daughter about security or anything else she wants to know. I don't care how young she is. If she asks, I need to give her an answer. That's my opinion. And then another viewer says, what are some of the warning signs? How can you tell when someone is being trafficked?
That was actually my next topic.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Okay. That was actually the next sheet. So I wrote down a few signs to kind of look for. So some of the signs you will look at is they show signs that their movement is being controlled. So they're not comfortable with being themselves. It's just something is off. They can't talk to you, like I said, they can't have a real conversation. It's very limited. It's very straight to the point. It's very hurry up and get out my face because somebody's watching me. Okay. How me and you freely having this conversation, if someone, this is like a child and they think their mom listening to their conversation. Okay. It's just that simple. It's similar to that. If you would see most of them have false ID or fake names or a fake identity. You know her as Pookie. Okay. Most likely something's not right. Nobody in the neighborhood know who she is. Something's not right. They don't know their work address or their home address. They cannot tell you, and that's through that's why it's important to have a conversation. Hey, where do you live? Well, where am I? That's a big sign. You don't know where you are. You don't know you're in Houston. You don't know you're in Lamar. You don't know you're in Texas City. That's a big sign that something's not right. Okay. They have very limited social interaction. Okay. So if you notice someone who just cannot communicate correctly, I don't care if it's slang, I don't care. If they cannot communicate properly, something's not right. If they're not very sociable, they look like they're very scared to talk to you, something is normally not right. They usually work long hours or long periods of time. You see this one, your neighbor every day, she leaves at 6 and she don't come back home till 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
Probably something's not right.
Okay.
If she is, if they think that they are indebted to someone, you having a conversation with someone and they saying, oh, I can't do that because I owe Aunt Letra. Oh, and I'm fearful that I owe Aunt Letra. Something's probably not right. You want to investigate. And another thing,
Yes.
I want to the comment about the black and the white.
Okay.
Human trafficking by itself does not have a race. Anybody can be considered human trafficking, because you have to remember human trafficking. I'm going to go over it in a minute of the different types of human trafficking. But human trafficking is something that is not only in America, it's over in other countries too. Yes. So you don't want to just think in your mind, oh, it's a black and a white thing, because it can be a Chinese thing or an Asian thing. It can be Hispanic. I mean, anybody can be brought over here in the human trafficking. I mean, we have the male, what is the male brides? What is it called? Mail order brides.
Mail order brides.
You have the girls who are brought in from Africa. Yeah, mail order brides. You got the girls brought in from Africa and Asia and to clean houses. Yes. That's considered human trafficking. Okay. So it's not a black or white thing. It's a everybody issue. Yes. And so you really need to be mindful of when you see things that if it feels something in your gut doesn't seem right about the situation, you might want to pay just a little bit closer attention, because usually if people really start paying attention to our guts, it usually tells us something ain't right about their situation. Right. I'm not saying go and accuse everyone, but just kind of be mindful and watching, because especially children that's brought over from other countries, they're not gonna be able to communicate to you that something's not right. They're scared. They're not gonna be able to tell you that this man is beating them every night to clean their houses or to do these different things that my mind can't even understand. Yes. So if it just doesn't seem, if this man has a wife that don't look like him and she just came out of nowhere. Yes. Oh, when you got married, that's probably something that's not right. Yes. So there are a lot of different signs. I know, like, I had went, because I don't live too far from this and that, and I drove my youngest daughter, to ride up and down the street, just to show her what these girls look like. Yes. A lot of them look like her. She was thinking in her mind, the people with the short dresses, and no, it was young girls dressed in t-shirts and jeans that were sex trafficking victims. Yes. I went to the massage parlor, walked in, I'm thinking, hey, I'm going to get a massage. It was part of sex trafficking. One of the biggest signs, especially if you're going to a massage parlor, is you're going to see an ATM machine right there in the front. Usually you're not going to see an ATM machine in the front of a massage parlor. That's a big red, a big red sign that something's not right. Another thing that we don't do, that we should do, and I've learned to do this, is just to pay attention to their licenses on the wall. Because you believe it or not, if it's not a real place, if it's part of the sex trafficking or human trafficking, it's gonna, their licenses are gonna be fake. Okay. And you could tell ain't no Bill Bob owning this shop. I mean, it just seemed fake. It seemed like they took a picture of something and placed it in there. And you like, it's just that serious. They take a picture of somebody else's information, the basics of the basics, and stick it on the wall. So, when you get your nails done, just walk over and, talk to them and look at the little certificates and stuff they have on the walls. See if it looks real. See if it's expired. How long? And ask questions. So this been expired for 2 years. When y'all gonna take care of this? Because most likely somebody in there is probably part of human trafficking. Okay. But a lot of times we don't pay attention. We just need to get our nails done. I just need you to do my eyebrows. Pay attention. It's the small signs, but are big signs that we overlook every day.
Let me ask you a question here.
So what types of human
Let me ask you a question before you get to the other types of human trafficking. I, the one viewer was talking about her young daughter. Can you kind of elaborate on that as you go
Mhm.
further into this discussion on what signs in our little girls that they're not even teenagers yet? What signs do we need to pay
Mhm.
attention to? And what is some of the things that parents need to be doing? I mean, whether it's a girl or boy, because I heard you something that stuck with me.
Right.
It kind of said like we have to make them feel like they belong, like they are worth being in our
Right.
lives. That's what I'm getting. The fact
Right.
that if a young girl,
Right.
a young boy is not feeling like mom, dad, my sisters, my brothers are not making me a part of the family, and they go outside, and soon as somebody show them some attention, they going to follow that no matter what we think. So could you elaborate on that,
Right.
because this is a very important subject, and I want to try to get you to cover as much as you can, and then filter into that how your
Right.
organization, in which you are the owner operator of, how you handle this.
Okay. So, signs that we want to pay attention for our kids that are at home. You want to, if they start becoming too isolated, of course, at a certain age, they want to be by themselves. But if they become too isolated or too secretive, that's something that's a red flag. I know, especially my kids, they like to hang out with their friends. You need to kind of limit that. I mean, because they are the people who are leading them into sex trafficking and human trafficking. Because if they always want to be at their friend's house, always want to be at their friend's house every weekend, every night on the phone with their friends, yes, that's normal, but too much, too excessive, that's probably a red flag. What's going on over there that you just have to be with Susie this weekend or every day? I know sometimes a lot of it is a boy related when it comes to girls related, but you got to keep in mind that a boyfriend or a girlfriend, I said boyfriend earlier, but it could be a girlfriend, could lead your child into human trafficking. So if they feel like, if they're fearful or kind show some kind of signs that this boyfriend or girlfriend has too much control over your child, that's probably a sign of not necessarily human trafficking or sex trafficking. It could be going through the grooming process. And that's another thing you want to pay attention to is these kids go through a grooming process. How much do you trust me? How much control can I get over you to kind of lead you into this lifestyle? So if your child just starts showing that somebody has too much control or too much power over their actions or their behaviors, or any type of just take up too much of their time, if they're not part of human trafficking, be careful, because they could be going through that grooming process, getting ready to lead them into it.
Oh my God.
So the main thing is to have that open communication with your child, and more importantly, know your child. You have to know your child, and the only way to know your child is by spending time with them and talking to them. They're human. They have feelings, they have emotions. And so you want to be that person that they talk to. They don't need to go talk to their best friend. Yeah, they're going to talk to their best friend, but they need to be able to come to talk to you too. Because their best friend, if that best friend have too much control over them, that best friend can turn them against you and luring them into the lifestyle that neither one of you are prepared to go down.
Yes.
And to be honest with you, that's how a lot of these teenage girls are coming into the lifestyle.
Oh, okay.
Because they go through that grooming process.
You know, and I know that I know that it has to be hard with your organization that you have. This is a hard subject, and more people need to be talking about this, because I'm looking at little girls every day. Every day. They are trying to figure it out. And it's like everybody is ignoring them.
And
How
they are.
are we getting so busy that our very future isn't getting any of our attention? Something is wrong.
Yeah.
And now you've got grown men having full-blown relationships with girls that mom and daddy trying to figure out, where is my baby?
Right.
You gotta watch them get on the bus. Because if you're not watching them get on the bus, somebody's watching them get on the bus.
Somebody watching
If
them.
you're not watching them get off the bus, somebody is watching them get off the bus. It's just, and this is for all communities, whether it's black, white, Asian, whatever.
Right.
We had better start paying attention, because you're absolutely right. They are picking these children up every day.
Right.
Every day.
Yeah.
You cannot take
Yep.
for granted that that child is okay, because they don't know how to react as fast as you would as an adult. And to me, it's so very sad, because of the simple fact we sit back and we see this stuff happening, and we just eating and drinking and being merry like nothing is going on. What I'm hearing you say is that we had better get in lockstep in order to let our children know, our grandchildren know, children in our community know. It needs to be more of these conversations held in group sessions. We talking about everything but this. And you've got parents who have no idea where their daughter is at, where their son is at. And you are telling us tonight, this is a $1 billion industry. A $1 billion industry.
Multi-billion.
Multi-billionaires.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's why they don't want to change these laws.
That's a big difference.
It's
and they're not trying to, because no. And a lot of time what we do as a community, as people, is we blame each other. Oh, that's her problem. Oh, that's not my problem. Oh, that's her daughter. Oh, her daughter just being fast. Oh, it's everybody's situation. It's everybody's problem, because if one person is hurting and one person is missing, that's everybody's problem. Not just Aunt Letra's problem, not just Toseia's problem. That is the world's problem. Our kids are coming up missing. That is a huge problem. Because why is it okay for these kids to be missing?
You know,
and people just like, it's normal, and it's not normal. It's not okay for kids to come up missing.
No. You know, my heart is really heavy, because I have grandkids, and I have nieces and nephews, and and just to hear you sharing this, we've got to get you back on, because this is really this is an information podcast. So on this podcast, whether people like it or not, we're gonna share information that, seriously, this is one of the things that when God gave me this assignment, it was for that purpose, for information. I believe Jackie wanted to come back in, because she wanted to say a few words to you before we get off. I'm trying to see how I bring her back in. And then before you get done, Toseika, tonight, I want you to tell us about your new blessing that you know, that happened in your life. And you know, I'm just so excited for you. Let me see how I get her back in on this side with us. Hold on. I'm not the technical person, she is, so she could just jump back and do that stuff. But
I just want to say this before we close out. If you think you might see a sign of human trafficking, or if something just doesn't seem right and you don't want to investigate yourself, there is a national number that you can call, and it's 1-800-373-7888, or you can text help
Jackie,
to
I'm trying to
Be
get you back
Free,
in.
BEFREE.
Okay, okay, okay. I want you to share that. I want you to share that again. Before that number, that's so important. It is so important. And I'm bringing Jackie back in. We're all excited about you being on here tonight.
Oh, it was fun. I love talking about topics like this because a lot of people ignore it. So it's really important to talk about stuff like this.
Yeah. So Jackie is back. You.
I wanted to come back and
She said, "Hi, Miss Jackie."
yeah, I missed half the number. Toseika, I missed half of the
Okay, no,
number.
I can give it again.
Okay.
Okay, so it's 1-888-373-7888. Or you can
hold on,
always
I got it.
text help, HELP.
Say it again. Some people are having a hard time hearing it.
I fixed it. Sorry, I
Oh,
fixed it.
can you hear me now?
I
Yeah,
hear you now.
I fixed it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so the number is 888
373.
7888, or you can text help, HELP, to Be Free, BEFREE. And
That
that's
is
to
excellent.
anyone who want to report it, or if you're a victim who need help, you can call those numbers and or text, and you can get some help.
You know, as you were talking, Toseika, what was coming to my mind is all these young kids that we just call them trouble. We say, oh, they're just
Right.
troubled. But, you know, I think back about some of these kids that we say, oh, they're just troubled. But now that you're saying some of these warning signs to look at, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, you know, how many of them like
Right.
suddenly changed the way they dress, you know, suddenly
Right.
changed the way they talk or whatever. Never
Right.
dawned on me
Big
that
spread
it was
sign.
anything other than teenage rebellion. That it
Right.
could be something other than teenage rebellion. You know, and like you said, teenagers don't want to talk
Right.
to their parents a lot of time.
Right.
Who are they going to talk to?
Who are they
They're going to talk to their
Right.
girlfriends or whatever. But that could be the problem. So how do we get them to talk? How do we get them to talk? What do we do? What do we do?
Well, if you have a good support system, I would suggest if you can't talk to your kids,
Hold on,
find
just one
someone
minute.
in your.
Hold on, just 1 minute, Jackie. I'm trying to figure out
Yeah.
how to add Moretta on the screen. How do I invite her
Okay.
in? Because she wants to come
Did you
on.
send her? Okay, you don't worry about it. Let me do it. I'll be there in a minute. I'll send her a copy of your link. Okay.
Okay.
Tell her I'll send it right now.
Okay, so she's looking and she wants to join us on here.
Okay.
I told you this topic is really touching hearts, and this is why it's so important that you are on here tonight. We need more people like you who are willing to come on and share this information. Too many people are standing in the shadows and not doing what they need to do to take care of these children.
Right.
Jackie, you can take it.
I'm working on it. I'm sending. I don't know Moretta's email address, so I'm asking. Send me your email address.
Okay.
Send me your email address. But I'm doing that. You know, and I think there are a lot of other issues with children besides trafficking that we could maybe nip in the bud if we just would talk to them. It's
Right.
I'm terrified. You know
To answer
what
your
I'm.
first question.
I ride the bus a lot. I'm disabled and I use an electric wheelchair before the pandemic. Now I'm stuck with that, but I use an electric wheelchair. I ride the bus a lot. And as you're talking about this, I'm thinking of a specific young girl, and 3 different times I saw her on the bus, and every time she gave me a different name. She gave me a different name, and I should have clicked on that.
Right.
What can you do in a situation like that where you're not, it's like you're not you don't even know these kids. They might not even talk to you. What would you say? What should I have done to this? Should I have just pulled her aside and said, given her my phone number and told her to call me sometime? What could I have done?
Yeah, you could have. That's exactly what I would have done. I would have gave her a word of encouragement to tell her, that she's much better than whatever her situation is. You don't want to straight off the back accuse her of being in the lifestyle, but you do want to open that line of communication and say, if you ever needing to talk or if you ever need any help, here's my number. You'll be surprised that person probably will reach out to you, because most of them, they want the help. They just don't think because they're brainwashed to believe that nobody loves them, that nobody wants them, nobody is going to help them. So just to have you open that line of communication would have been a big deal to her, to let her know that, hey, wait, someone does care. Someone is listening. Someone is willing to talk to me. Because like I said, a lot of us just keep walking and blaming on, oh, that's their problem. That's her problem. That's in reality, they're people who just want help. Regardless of if they believe they're a victim or not, they want help.
And my heart is hurting right now. It hurts. There's Moretta. It hurts because I'm thinking of that girl.
That's their problem.
And I did not.
In reality, they're people who just want help.
Yeah.
Regardless of if they believe they're a victim or not, they want help.
You're gonna have to mute your computer, Moretta.
Oh, okay.
There's Moretta. It hurts because I'm thinking of that girl.
I don't got my glasses on, y'all. Hold on.
Okay.
We're so excited, me and Jackie. This is our first time doing this, Toseika. You have really sparked a conversation, because this is the first time we've done it where we've had to go back and add people in to the conversation. This is, you don't know how crucial this is to myself, to Jackie, because, we're doing things, at our ages, trying to reach young people and let them know they're more than what they think they are, than what society says. But we do need y'all's help to help us. Moretta, you want to kind of chime in? That's why you're here.
Oh, I just wanted to chime in so I could tell Skia that I was very proud of her. Because regardless of who understands or who agrees or how many people join in on, I call it a movement, she still stays steady and she still keeps pushing. Not even with just finding destiny, not even with that, even with her acting and everything. So I just wanted to tell her that I'm proud of her. That's what I wanted to say.
Aww,
I'm very proud of her.
Thank you.
Yes.
And you look cute, girl. Meanwhile, I'm in my robe.
That's all right.
Doing what Miss Jackie told me to do. I'm resting.
That's right.
So Miss Jackie told you to do that. Okay. Jackie,
So she did.
you are in trouble, Jackie.
I know.
She did. She told me to rest. And
I
she told me to hug myself.
That's right. I did. And we're due for another discussion about that very soon, just so you know.
We are.
We are. Okay. But
Jackie.
tell us, if you could, Toseika, about Finding Destiny. What is that exactly? What is your business exactly?
So Finding Destiny is a mentorship.
Okay.
It's a mentorship program.
Okay.
We mentor young girls, low-income girls, teen parents, sex trafficking, well, human trafficking, sex trafficking victims. We just opened up a section for elderly. So now we offer elderly mentorship. And I am working on a project with the citizens of Tigra in their
Okay.
issue,
What's
which
Tigra?
is kind of similar to the sex. It is a state in Ethiopia who is at war with their own country, who the women and children there are being starved, beaten, raped. The men are getting shot and killed. So it's just like Texas is being at war with the United States, and we're being raped and beaten and starved. It's just in a different country, and it's in Ethiopia. And so it's right now it's very difficult because they're fighting against their own government. And so you can't just send food over there, or you can't just send medical supplies, because when you send it, the army there is taking it. So they are making sure that these women or children are being starved. They are being gang raped in front of each other. A mother is watching her daughter be gang raped. The daughter is watching her mother be gang raped. And other people are just standing around watching because they are in fear of their own life. So I am currently working on a project to figure out, only God knows how to figure that situation out. But I would just look at it as, if it was Texas against the United States, I would want someone to reach their hand out and say, hey, this is not right. Biden, you can't do that to Texas. So it's just as bad as human trafficking. But both topics are very difficult. So what we do is we offer mentorship, we offer clothing, we offer right now I'm trying to find counseling to offer these girls, connect with counselors, because all of the girls that we assist have emotional issues. At the end of the day, it's emotional and psychological over anything. They're broken. And so Finding Destiny has created a program to kind of rebuild these girls. Teach them self-love, self-care, along with helping them continue school or go to the next level, finish school, go to college, get a job, get them on the right track, back into life.
Yes.
Yes. If we can feed them or whatever else they may need. But moreover, group sessions and one-on-one session mentorship.
Toseika, do you mind letting your email or the email for Finding Destiny, letting Electra put it on the comments here? Because there may be other viewers besides myself who want to say, what can I do? Is there anything I can do?
The easiest way is to, I'll give her the email address, but it's www.findingdestiny.org is the email address. Is the website, and the email address is on there as well.
Okay. Because I never even heard of this organization, but wow. And like a lot of people, I'm sitting here saying, there's not a whole lot I can do, but at the same time, I can be present. I can be present in many ways.
Just having someone to listen, if you're a sex trafficking victim, just to have someone listen to the nightmare you went through is huge to a victim. It may be little to you, but it's huge to someone to say, have someone listen to you, because a lot of these girls, they don't have anyone to listen to them.
I'm going to tell you another group of children that probably can very easily fall into that being trafficked is foster children. I think
I work with foster kids. They are.
Yeah, I have experience with that myself, and those kids in foster care, especially, aching for someone to love them, often find the wrong person.
And you say that, but to be honest with you, I actually had an issue with that. Remember in lecture a couple of months ago, when I'm a CASA, so I advocate for the kids in foster care.
Court-appointed special advocate.
Yeah. And so one of the girls had ran away, and we thought that she was part of the sex trafficking, because that's what the information that we received. And you'll be surprised that no one was concerned. The judges weren't concerned. The police wasn't concerned. The CPS, to be realistic, they weren't concerned, only during regular business hours, when they were getting paid. But it's very easy for the girls and boys in the foster care system to become victims, because one, they don't have family or anyone to speak up on their behalf, and two, the people that are there that are getting paid to be there for them, they really don't care unless it's Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. And then it's just push a paper at another child, or get somebody else.
Well, we got about 5 minutes, and I have to tell you that Letitia said, "Hey, y'all." So she wants us to know that she is there. But
this has been an excellent podcast.
Yes.
Excellent.
Before she gets off, Jackie, we have got to let her tell us about a wonderful thing that has happened for us. To you, 5 minutes, ma'am. We got 5 minutes. What can you tell us? The excitement.
So, I am a new actress, and as a new actress, very difficult to get started. But I actually have an agent, so that is huge, because most new actresses have to be in the business and have a huge resume to even be looked at. And so, I'm really excited. So now they're rushing me now to get all my paperwork in, so I can get started doing commercials and TV and other voice, because right now I'm doing voiceover, and so they want to get me started doing more projects. So I'm
gonna say I know her.
I know. I know.
She be acting like she don't know you.
Yeah, she gonna be acting like she don't know us now, Loretta.
I need people to help me, because I'm still going through the motions with Find the Destiny, trying to get it up and properly running like it needs to be. But I also want to push it to have advocates for each topic that we have multiple topics, but kids in foster care, kids, sex trafficking victims, teen moms. I mean, even right now, Tigra, I need other people to help me advocate for these girls, because it's huge. They don't have voices, so they need someone else. Even if it's someone coaching us through the process, anybody can help push this along and say, "Hey, we have an issue. Hello, Houston, there's an issue here, and it's our children. Our children are the issue right now." So, if you don't take anything away from this, take away that our children needs our attention, regardless if it's your baby you carried or not. Our children, because they're all ours, have issues. So.
Well, the computer is about to cut us off, unfortunately.
Yes, it is.
We have a time limit. So thank you so much, Toseika, for just being willing to come on and speak. You know, and Electra will get with you, because we're going to have you back. Sorry. So, and don't worry. We'll go into the description of this video, and we will put some of the information that you gave, the phone numbers and the web address. We'll put this information there. It is out there for the world to see.
Yes. And this interview will be on Facebook.
Thank you for having me, guys.
And it will be on Facebook as well.
Thank you for coming. and Tisha, we didn't bring Letitia in, but she's rooting you on.
All right.
And I think she's going to talk about Moretta soon as we get off of here. And I want to take this time right here to thank you, Jackie, before the world. Because listen, Jackie works so hard with this podcast. She really do. Even when I'm sleeping, she has gotten it to where I can share this channel, and she is working on stuff while I'm sleeping. And so she called me the next day and say, "Guess what I did? I was doing this." And so I want to thank you before the world.
Thank you.
To help in this. And I believe that sometimes we wait too long to thank people. So when all of y'all get rich,
I'm glad
when all of y'all get rich, if y'all try to run away from me, I'm cutting your legs off, okay?
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yes,
Bye.
yes.